Welcome to the 1871 podcast. And tonight we have a very special guest, part of the legendary 106 team with Reading. It's Leroy Lita. So a very warm welcome, first of all, to you, Leroy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and thanks for coming on. And we've got Johnny, who's stepped back into his normal co-presenter shoes. So thanks for filling in for me, Johnny. You did a great job and had a great chat with Noel Hunt, didn't you? I think you enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yeah, very good, mate. It's always lovely to talk to, like all the Reading lads.
Yeah. And before we speak to Leroy, Johnny, just a word on the current state of play with Reading. Another home game, this time against Hull. So by the time this episode goes out, it'll be Saturday morning. So this afternoon, home to Hull. Is it fingers crossed, Johnny, or what are you hoping for?
Let's put the tin hat on and hope for the best at the minute, isn't it? We somehow get a result. We need a result. We need, the Pauline's gone on about the performances. I'm not convinced that they've been that good. We need something to change, and we need to, the gap is getting closer. We need a win, and that's it. And home game against a team that's a bit easier than the teams we've been playing recently. Yeah, we just have to go for it, and we'll keep saying we'll win one. Eventually, we'll get it right, Mark, before the end of the season.
Yeah, as long as it's not another defeat, I think then it starts to get really worrying, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Three defeats at home on the road is not good.
Yeah, but it's a bit different from your time at Reading at the moment, Leroy. I mean, you came into Reading, and all you knew at Reading was success, pretty much, wasn't it? So. Do you still follow Reading's results? Do you still look out for the results?
I have a look out now and again, but I don't think there's anyone there that in the playing squad or the staff that was there when I was there anyway. So I don't really. Yeah, now and again I'll have a look, see how they got on, but they're struggling at the moment. I see that by you guys' voices on that.
Yeah, you can tell.
It's different times, isn't it? So I'm a Chelsea fan anyway.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and there's talk of 6-point deductions, all that sort of thing. But obviously, Reading was just one of your clubs, and you were because you weren't born in England, were you? You were born in Zaire, I think, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, it's called Democratic Republic of Congo now. So.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, but it was Zaire back then, wasn't it?
It was,
yeah. So, when did you sort of come to England? Was it a sort of very young age?
I was 5 years old when I came to England. Yeah, I think I was 4 when I came to Europe. I lived in Belgium first, and then I came over to England to live over here.
And you mentioned Chelsea already, that you're a Chelsea fan, and you actually started at Chelsea, didn't you? In I think it was 1999. You were playing for the Chelsea's youth team, weren't you?
98, from 98 to here, to 2001. So 3 years there as an academy player.
Yeah, and then you went on obviously to Bristol City after that, and then to Reading. But what was that grounding like for you at Chelsea? And was it a disappointment for you when you didn't sort of go on to break into the first team, or what were your thoughts about that?
No, I think what happened in the end was probably a blessing, because it gave me more hunger and determination and desire. So it was good. It was good to be a part of Chelsea Academy. I learned a lot there. Disappointed, don't get me wrong, to not get a scholar there or YTS in my time, but I got on the phone to ringing up clubs, trying to get a trial here and there. I even rang Reading, by the way, when I was 16 years old, and they said they already sorted their scholars for the year, and so there's no place for me there. And I rang up Bristol and Bristol Rovers. They both told me to come down. I played a game for Bristol Rovers and then played for Bristol City the next day, and I came on at half time, scored 5, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come on to your time at Reading, but I want to bring Johnny in now. Johnny, over to you, because obviously we've got a lot to talk about. Leroy's fantastic time at Reading and all the other clubs he's played for. So over to you now, Johnny.
Yeah, how did the move to Reading come about, Leroy, and what made you sign? I think you were our first £1 million player, if I'm not mistaken. Is that?
Yeah, people keep reminding me of that. Yeah, well, I had my breakthrough season at Bristol City. I think I was 18 or 19, and top scorer. I think for 29 goals for the club that season. I think Burnley, a few clubs made a bid, but the club, Bristol at the time, I had a year left on my contract. Didn't accept what the clubs were offering. Um, I just moved into my apartment in Bristol at the time, and then I got a call one afternoon. It's off season. I think I was doing some washing or something like that, from the chairman. And Steve Lanza has rang me and said, Leroy, we've accepted a fee from you, a fee from Reading for you. I was like, what? I had no idea about Reading.
Okay.
There was no speculation already, anything like that. And I rang my agent, he told me, and I was like, yeah, I've looked at it. I never really knew Reading Football Club. I knew Scott Murray. He had been there because he was playing with me at Bristol at the time. And he did enjoy it, and he came straight back. So it wasn't, I didn't ring him to ask him about Reading. Um, so that I just got on the phone to my agent. He told me that the fee's been agreed and everything like that. And then a couple of days later, Brian McDermott has drove down and come to my apartment and helped me pack up. Um, he's packed up a few things, he put it in his car, and he's drove me down to Bristol. To Reading from Bristol because I didn't drive at the time. And me and Brian just had a chat. We're just talking football. And you know what? I love Brian for the rest of my life, man. He's a brilliant bloke and just a genuine, proper person. And we just spoke football, and then he told me about every goal I scored, what teams. He knew every single game. He knew everything. I was like, I've never met this guy in my life, but he knew every single goal I scored, how I scored it, who against, and I was like, they really like me there. And then that was Brian's side of it. And then I've got down to the Majewski. I've told this story many times, but I'll tell you guys if you ain't heard it.
Well, we just
Down to Majewski, checked in a hotel. We got breakfast. John Majewski. He didn't connect. Hello?
Oh, sorry, Leroy, we lost you a bit there, but you're
Yeah.
back.
Where did you lose me?
You said you arrived at the stadium. I think we got to.
Okay. Can you hear me now, yeah?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah. I arrived at the stadium, checked in the hotel, had slept the night. Next day, gone down to have breakfast, walked past Sir John, and he didn't recognize me. And he was with Cilla Black at the time. They're having breakfast together. And my agents had to tap him and say, John, this is Leroy, by the way. And me and my agent walked off, and I laughed. I went, this man just spent £1 million on me. He don't even know what I flipping look like. And we just having a laugh about it. And that was my start to Reading. I was like, then through my experience, you understand a lot of owners are not really into football. They don't know their players and stuff like that. But I find no offense to that. But I just thought it's funny.
Yeah, go on, Johnny. I'll let you. I'll let you sort of take over for a little bit if you like.
Yeah. And so when you got there, Leroy, what was it like walking into that change room?
As a kid, what was up? It was fine. I got on with most of the lads straight away. It wasn't. I wasn't intimidated by anyone. Just wanted to get on with it, and yeah. I think Harps was in the gym one day. Harps and Nick Hammond was in there. Harps wanted some new equipment, and Nick Hammond said we can't afford it. And Harp shouted at him, "Well, you just fucking spent £1 million on him." So as a joke, not offense to me, but it's all good.
Did that weigh on you when you were playing? Like you said about the £1 million thing. Did it bother you, or when you as a settling in?
No, not one bit. I didn't even think about it. People spoke about it to me all the time. It just went over my head. I don't care. I didn't care. I knew my ambition, so I just focused on that.
Yeah. And what was when you said about Brian? I think everyone's got a good word about Brian. He's such a lovely guy. And what about with Steve Coppell when you met him for the first time? What was your impression?
I was a bit in awe because he brought my hero into the game, Ian Wright. So I knew of Steve Coppell. I didn't know Brian, and I had no clue who Brian was. I know he is now, obviously, ex-player and that, but Steve I knew of because I've heard the stories from me, hearing Ian Wright talk about him, and yeah, I was a bit in awe of him, and then he was fine. I got on with him well. He was quite honest, and yeah, he's a top bloke. Last time I saw him last summer, but I still call him now and again just for a chat.
Yeah. And then, like, that start of that season, what was your expectation for yourself, to start off with us?
It was up a level for me. Wanted to see how many goals I can get in the championship for a personal target. But when I got to the club, everyone was talking about the Premiership, and that's what excited me the most. Everyone was like, the club's ambition was to be in the Premier League. So, I just wanted to show people that I could score goals at that level as well. As a next step for me on a personal level.
Well, Leroy, if you're still there, we've lost you for now. It's probably just the connection.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll be back any second, hopefully.
Is it me?
That's okay. It's all right. Leroy, can I just ask you? You mentioned about Ian Wright. Like when you, when you were a young player, was he your hero, and did you aspire to sort of emulate what he'd done? Was that kind of your ambition, if you like?
No, he was the first person I was seen play football, and saw the enjoyment in his face and how he celebrated goals, and that was the first player that I saw really enjoying it, and I fell in love with him. And I'm a Chelsea fan as well, and yeah, he was the number. But I had other players I looked up to. I never wanted to emulate his game because I know we're goal scorers, but he's a totally different player to me. So yeah, he's better than me. He's a lot better than me. But yeah, I just fell in love with the person, watching the person play football and what it meant to him and how he expressed himself.
Well, I know, talking of Ian Wright and, any comparisons, I know, you mentioned there, obviously to Arsenal fans, Ian Wright's a legend, but you fall into that category, Leroy Lita, with Reading, don't you? So I think that, it's just such an amazing season when you came to Reading with Dave Kitson and Kevin Doyle. What was that like being part of that? Because it was such a good balance, and you've all got that legendary status. All of those players have, but just though the front players, there was that real dynamism and energy about you, and you worked really well together, and it just seemed to all fit and click. What was your view of how that worked with playing with those other players?
Do you know what? Let's not beat around the bush here. Do you know how it worked so well? Because between the three of us, we had Shane Long there as well, but he was a youngster there and he wasn't quite established yet. Why it worked with the three of us? Because one of us was always injured. one would be injured, the other one would come back from injury, then someone would get injured, and it was probably easy for the manager because no one was knocking on his door. Because I don't remember, maybe at the beginning of the season, all three of us was fit, right? And that was the only time. I think the first game I started up. No, that's a lie. Kitson weren't fit at the beginning of the season. When the season we went up, I think I started up front with Doyley, or one of them. Either way round, one was always injured. So I think that worked out well for us because it wasn't really, we knew there's three of us, two of us are going to play. So yeah, one's injured and two fit, they're playing.
Yeah, Johnny, I'll let you come back in now. Go on.
Yeah, and so like that squad you had, Leroy. I mean, the creativity. It must have been a dream as a striker to play when you got Glenn Little, Bobby Convey, Sidwell, Harper, feeding you. The chances that you got. It must have been a dream.
I think I got more chances when I was at Bristol City. I got more chances in that team, But that was in League One. But yeah, I know what you mean. With the likes of Bobby, Glenn Little on the other side, I still can't work him out. He's one of the very good player, by the way. Just looking at him, I thought, how is this guy play football? He's all dangly and not quick, but tricky. He was tricky and a very intelligent footballer. So yeah, we created plenty of chances. We all worked hard as well, and we absolutely suffered teams that year. We didn't give them a break at all. And I think we had a group at a time where pretty young and a couple of older heads there, but we all the youngsters, even you like to Sidwell, Harper, we're all hungry.
Yeah,
we're all hungry to get to the top. So I think how Reading got that group of lads together at one time is unbelievable, because I look at it now and you don't see it anywhere else. It's just so unreal to be fortunate enough to be a part of that. Looking back now, because that they really did some work there. I'm talking about your Brian McDermott's, their scouts and all that, to get that many group of people that hungry in one team is unreal.
and not for a lot of money either, really, was it? The whole squad value was.
Now it costs you £1 billion now.
Yeah, wouldn't it? This day and age.
That's just you, Leroy.
Did you have a preference, Leroy, who you preferred playing up front with in your time at Reading?
I didn't care as long as I was one of them. Yeah, well, I didn't care about that. Now, do you know what? We all got on really well. Doyley, I think, is one of the funniest guys in the group. People don't think it, but he's one of the funniest guys. He used to do some strange things, that guy. Won't go into it. That's for another day. Yeah, we all clicked, and we all understood each other, respected each other, and all 4 strikers were different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We was all different, and I think the manager was blessed to have that. You know, looking back, it's really fortunate to have 4 totally different strikers, and you know that there's not many squads that have that now. So.
And when did you start believing? You know, as that season went on, we lost the first game, didn't we? And it was like, what? But then from then on,
Leicester away. That's when I believed it. That's when I was, that was seriously our focus. When I know everyone else was getting excited, we weren't excited till it was done. We know football, anything can happen. So we weren't too excited. I wasn't even at Leicester that day because I had a broken leg, if you remember. I wasn't even there, and I think I was at a family party or something like that, and I was just checking the score, so we only needed a draw. We drew 1-1, and yeah, I just couldn't believe that we're in the Premier League. And but after that, it shows the group, because we could all relax then, you know, got our cigars out and party for the rest of it. Well, I did because I was injured. But we didn't. Everyone kept their focus and stayed unbeaten to the end of the season. From, you know what I mean? That's unbelievable, because we was already up, the job done. We weren't champions, but we was up, and that was the target. But everyone stayed focused, and we, you know, managed to get 106 points, which is in danger of being beaten by Burnley.
Yeah. I'll never be beaten, though, for a Reading fan. That season, I think, was just immense, you know, to watch you guys. And the fun you guys had as well. It looked like you just enjoyed playing as a team, you know, playing for each other. And it was a special time, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. When at the time, I didn't realize it, but when you look back now and just think of moments and, you know, being around that group, and it's a really special time, especially for the town, because I've been back a few times and it's a bit dull. You know what I mean? I don't remember Reading being like that. Even when we was in the Championship, it wasn't. I'm not dissing Reading, but I've been back a couple of times. It's not been, you know, it's a bit down at the moment, but, you know, sometimes you have to go through these stages. But that time was just incredible, and I'm sure Reading fans will never forget that, and I'm sure the club won't stop talking about it.
Oh.
Johnny, do you need to? You're running out of time, I think, aren't you? Do you need to go?
I've only got 5 more minutes, and I'll have to.
I'll let you have the next few minutes, and then I know you need to go.
Yeah, no, thanks for your time, Leroy. Just like that season again, because I mean we could talk about it forever. What was you said like the Leicester game, but what was your personal highlight playing wise for yourself?
That season, I don't personal highlight. Probably, I don't know. My personal highlight was when I was injured, because when I weren't playing. Because just to see the focus on the boys.
Okay.
My personal one, what game what stuck out? I can't. It wasn't personal. It's a whole team thing.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like no one player. Everyone like put something into the team all the time. It was everybody. You know what I mean? Someone was injured, someone come in and help do the job. So it wasn't, I can't really think like that because it wasn't about that. It was about that squad and we was all together, literally everything from pre-season when we went to Sweden. From that moment, we just stuck together and all so focused and yeah, it was just unbelievable. I remember the person with the gaffer set me targets every month.
Yeah.
He would give me a piece of paper and tell me what. No, in fact, he used to write on a piece of paper. We got this many games, and when you get this many goals, blah blah blah. I was like, well, I never had that before, so it wasn't putting pressure on me. I liked it to be fair because I know what the manager expects from me, and then you know it was pretty good. So yeah, I really can't think of a personal. If you want to go into games, I didn't really feel like that. I felt it was a whole team thing, if you know what I mean.
And off the pitch, what was the celebrations like at the end of the season?
I can't remember them. Like, yeah, I remember the team. What did we do? The bus around the town. I remember that. I remember. Yeah, I wasn't in a good place then. I had to put my hat on and just try and stay away a bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think we had a party everywhere. I think everywhere, literally everywhere, and Reading was open for us, and I was there. So, no, yeah, it was good times.
Just like before I head off, last thing, like, what was it like for you being back at the Legends game and meeting up with all those guys again? Would you
It
have
was like
kept in touch a lot with
it was
some of the players?
it was like I was there yesterday. Honestly, it was like I was there yesterday, just to see the faces and hear the voices again, all the
Yeah.
banter and everything like that. It was brilliant. Just yeah, I felt like even though I didn't get on, we weren't all friends, but I felt home, like with people within football that you really got a lot of time for, and that helps you on your way into, you know, and have success in that. I really felt at home, and it was nice seeing Bobby again, Marcus, them guys who don't live in England anymore. Some of the others I've seen, but yeah, it was lovely to catch it. Honestly, it was so weird. I'm sure people say this all the time, but just being in that room, in the changing room, all them lads, it was just magical, man. I had my daughters there, everything like that. So it was a great day for everybody, I think.
I think of the fans as well. You know, we'll never forget it. Just to see you guys, see you score again for Reading, and still looking as quick as you did then.
Yeah, I know. I'm still playing. That's why.
Yeah.
No. I think yeah, definitely. I think clubs need to do that more, especially with teams that have done well. And because it's memories for the fans. At the end of the day, that's you only have that one. Reading are not going to get that twice. They got 2 promotions to the Prem, but that team, you're not going to have that. Not many teams are going to have that, and I think it's important. I'm so glad that Ron's still there. That would not happen without Ron. Because I know anyone else rang me, I would not have answered. But when Ron Lee calls you, you have to answer to Ronnie. You know what I mean?
Right. An unsung hero, isn't he?
Yeah, unsung people like that. And he's a lovely bloke, still the same, still gives you the big hug and just like warm guy, man. Like him and his wife. It was nice to see him as well because he was a big part of our team.
Yeah.
Ronnie was a big part of the team, and a lot of people don't. I'm sure they do now because he's always around the club now, and it's so rightly so as well because that guy's give his life to Reading, and he deserves a statue outside that stadium.
Oh, he's brilliant.
All right, Johnny, do you need to go?
Yeah. Thanks so much, Leroy. Take care.
John, take care, Johnny, mate. See you later.
All right.
Yeah.
So Johnny's heading off. He took a bit of time. He's actually at work. They let him have a bit of time off work. So we're going to carry on without Johnny now while he gets back to work. So Leroy, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned a couple of players already. You mentioned the sort of respect and admiration you had for Brian McDermott. What about the players? Because obviously there were some big characters in that side. You mentioned Glenn Little. But what about the sort of the quieter players? So, you have players like Ivar Ingemarson, you have players like Ibrahim Sonko who weren't necessarily, the bigger outspoken personalities. But
did you just say Sonko? Well, outspoken.
But I don't know. Who do you think? Who did you respect the most?
I don't think there was a quiet. I don't think there was a quiet member of that squad. To be honest, everyone was a character. Everyone was a big.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, how I knew Reading had very smart in their recruitment because we had great characters all over the place. Even the players who weren't playing, like your likes of Graham Stack, massive character in that squad, massive. And he didn't play that much, did he? I don't think he made a league appearance, but he was one of the big characters who kept things going and keeping things lively. Sonko, another one. I lived with Sonko when I first moved there. So he was a big character in the change room, big voice. So they can look around and think Ingemarson was a big character.
Yeah.
He spoke every day. Like, he won't be screaming and shouting. People won't talk about him outside maybe, but within the squad, he was a big character. Marcus Hanneman, Bobby Convey in his own way, because you don't want to wind Bobby up. You know what I mean? So you have to speak a certain way to Bobby, because otherwise you're having an argument, or he's not going to talk to you. So there's massive characters all over the place. So I don't know. Maybe Shane was a bit quiet. Even he went quiet because he got his guitar out and started singing in front of lads. That takes character. You know what I mean? So yeah, honestly, I think I can't think of one who wasn't. James Harper never shut up. Never shut up. He used to tell the managers to F off. But the manager knew he didn't mean it in a bad way, anything like that. It's just Harps, just the way he is. Yeah, so I can't really think of a character that was quiet.
And you talked about Ron, and you mentioned Graham Stack. And, how important was it to have that kind of, not just the players that were playing, but how important was it to have people like Graham Stack who were on the sidelines? And, did it feel like a sort of a family almost? Was it that kind of feel to it?
Yeah, I think you'll find every successful team, everyone's on the same page. You know what I mean? There's no successful team that has people thinking elsewhere or anything like that. Everyone has to be on the same page, because the good managers will get rid of that straight away. So I think, even through, I can't remember the lady in the kitchen. She used to give the lad stick all the time. I can't remember her name, but she's brilliant. Sue and her husband, who just part of the security and that looked after the training ground. Them people, they used to give you banter every day. Just, you know what I mean? There was loads of characters at the time. And looking back, they're full of good people, man. Really good people.
Oh, and when you finally you clinched the promotion, and obviously had a good end to the season, and everyone was celebrating, and you got the record and all that. And then after that, did you sort of take a proper break from it all, or were you already thinking ahead to, I'm going to have a chance in the Premier League now? Were you already mentally preparing yourself, or did you have a proper break at the end of the season?
I didn't have a break because I had a broken leg, so I was in with John Fern. Another character, John Fern, absolutely another fantastic person you can't forget. Like, yeah, John Fern, he told me, he gave me an air cast where you can take off. So he told me to do weights on my leg. I was like, what? It's broken. He went, yeah, it's all right though. It's been pinned. So you can do weights on you. Just move it up and down, do weights and keep the strength up so your leg don't go skinny. And you got that rehab to do. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I did that. And then I was back running within 6 weeks. And I was limping. And then Fanny used to go, Leo, it's just in your head. It's just in your head. You just put your foot down, will you? Just put your foot down. Now, in your head when you've been injured and you're a bit timid. And, he just said, go for it. You'll be fine. It's pinned. It's not going to move, Leo. Don't worry. He gave me comfort. So I was just getting myself ready, and I was ready for the first game of the season against Middlesbrough. So that was my target, to make sure I was ready for pre-season. I think my first pre-season game was at Didcot, because we used to play them every year, didn't we? I think I came on in the second half there and scored a hat-trick. So I was like, oh, my leg's all right then. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was building my confidence, building my strength. And by the time the season came, I was on the bench though. But once again, kids got injured. I came in at half time. So, you're looking back now, you think we was really blessed, weren't we? Like, not with the injuries, don't want to be injured, but I think the timing of injuries, everything that worked out for the squad and the team.
Yeah. And then going into that first game of the season, what were your sort of expectations, if you like? Were you were you expecting to have a really good season, or you didn't know?
Well, you're just excited. You have no fear. If you do, I didn't think about not doing well because I was thinking I worked all my life, like most of my life at that point. I was only 20 years old, I think, when we got to the Premier League. So I've been playing for 10 years, so it was half my life at the time to get there. I just thought, just have a go. You've got nothing to lose, no? You know, scored in the League One, scored in the Championship. It's only a level up, so I would just try and score as many goals as you can there. So yeah, I just thought we had no fear in the squad. Everyone was just determined and hungry and excited. A lot of the lads is first year in the Prem, and I think you find that every team in their first year in the Prem do all right. So yeah, I was just really excited about it, and to live a boyhood dream playing in the Premier League, same as the people you looked up to and way before. So yeah, it was fantastic.
And obviously, that was an interesting introduction to the Premier League, wasn't it? That game, and the second half compared to the first half. What do you remember about that game in particular?
Well, I was on the bench, so we went 2-0 down. I was looking at who was up front for them, Viduka and them guys. I was thinking, Viduka, I've been watching this guy since I was a kid, and I was like, he's only human, isn't he? You know what I mean? But they went 2-0 up. Even then, Steve Coppell, the genius he is, I thought he'd be going mad at that point because of the level he's at. In the change room, still as calm as ever. One thing was, I've never seen Steve lose his rag with anybody. Like, he talks in the same tone, the same volume, everything like that. And I couldn't believe it, but we went back out. We always, if we was playing bad, we'd always play better in the second half after listening to the team talk from the gaffer and the staff and that. Yeah, we weren't. I didn't think we lost it. Even 2-0 down, I didn't think, oh, that's us finished. I didn't think anything negative. The buzz was still there, and I was coming on at half time, and we got back in the game, and before half time we got back in the game, and I managed to get the winner in the second half. So,
and then the rest of the season, obviously a fantastic season, and what you achieved, where you finished. What was that first season in the Premier League like for you and the other players, just to be part of that? This is Reading up in the Premier League for the first time, but you had such a fantastic season. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was great. I think we surprised everyone. But I wasn't surprised with us personally. I was quite disappointed that we didn't get the European spot from Bolton. And it went down to the last game of the season. We was away at Blackburn, right?
Yeah.
We both could make the European spot, and we missed out. I think we lost 3-2 at Blackburn or something like 3-2. I think it was, and Bolton finished above us. Yeah, so it was disappointing in the end. But then you go back and you're like, put your feet on the ground. We've done all right here. We're in the top. We do finish 8th.
Yeah,
finish 8th. So top 8 team in the country. That's not a bad thing. It's a little Reading to everyone else, but that's an achievement.
Yeah, and then it wasn't just the 2 seasons in the Premier League. Obviously, you had some good cup games as well. The Man United game, to actually compete with a team like that, it's just a fantastic time to be a Reading player. To be involved in the club, to be a fan. It's just must have been like a really enjoyable time for you, I would have thought.
Yeah, it was, because, as I said, I was around, I was in a squad full of hungry young players and with lots of determination, desire, different abilities. But the main thing was our hunger and desire and determination. And everybody had that. So, yeah, we was very fortunate to be in that squad. Everyone understand what I mean now, the players that are in that squad, because if you look around in the change room, we had loads of that. And the management, I have even more respect of them now, because looking back, that must have been some job for the recruitment staff and Brian, because that's why he picked me up, get to know the character. That's listen to my story where I'm from, because you don't know sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the following season we tried bringing young, hungry players, and some of them didn't work out.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What do you think the main difference was in the second season compared to such a fantastic first season in the Premier League?
I think a lot of us wanted to move on, myself included. We wanted to go to that next level because there was clubs sniffing around and trying to get me in, and I wanted to, test myself at next level, see how I handle that pressure and what I could do for them, because I knew the bet at Reading we weren't getting many chances in the first year or the second. We weren't getting loads of chances, but the other teams always seemed to give. So in my head, I was like, can I go to one of them teams that can create them chances so I can be there to put them away? And I think, that was the biggest problem in our second year. A lot of us, as I said, including myself, wanted to move on.
And then obviously you had a couple of loan spells during your time at Reading, didn't you? And did you kind of accept that, just looking for your next club, or what was your mindset when you were out on loan and that sort of thing?
Well, I was being a bit immature at the time because I didn't get my move, so I had a little sulk, and that's never the way to respond to that. Then got back to the next season. I think we got relegated back into the Championship, struggling to be, didn't want to be there. I wanted to move on. It wasn't happening, and I just felt like I needed to move on. And the manager don't mess about. He does what's best for the team. And I was on the bench a lot, well, most of the time. And I'm not one to just sit on the bench and be happy there. And so I asked to go on loan. They said no a couple of times, and things was going on off the pitch where eventually they agreed for it. It was best for me to go on loan, and I think my first loan was Charlton. So I went down to Charlton, and I enjoyed it there for, I think I was there 3 months, and then Reading called me back. Was that in the second year? Sorry, that was in the second year in the Premier League. Yeah, they called me back. Didn't want to go back, but got to do what the club says. They put me straight in the team and anything like that. But you know what? In football, if you don't want to be there, then it's not the place for you. You're not going to be at your best at all.
Yeah. What would you, if you could pick out one happiest memory from your time at Reading? What would that be? What's the one thing that pops into your head that you think about your time at Reading, and what was the best thing about that for you?
Good question. No one's ever asked me that. Best thing at Reading. Pre-season trips. I've never been away on pre-season, but one thing is got to know the lads. I remember it's the first time you had to sing a song in front of all the lads, because I only had been at one club before as a pro, and we went to Borås in Sweden, and we all had to sing a song at dinner and everything. I was like, what the hell was going on? I just cracked on with it, and I
Can you remember?
Not a clue. Come on, man. That was nearly 20 years ago. I can't remember that. So that moment I thought, wow, this is nice, isn't it? Everyone was actually, because Bristol was good, but it was a different culture there. It was like Bristol City was like a drinking culture. If you weren't drinking, no one really talked to you. So at Reading, it was more like people getting out of their comfort zone, talking to everyone and getting to know everyone's name, even the staff that, your Rons and everyone like that. I think that's probably, that opened up my eyes to wow, football is actually just a normal place.
Yeah.
Just a normal workplace full of people. Not what I know it's not work. It is work, but it's not work if you're doing what you love. I like that about it, and I really enjoyed it. I've been in a different country, just meeting these guys, and I'm away with them. They're not my mates, but I'm away with them. Just got on.
Yeah.
I'll probably say that, just getting to know them more.
Yeah. And your career has included playing for England under 21s. Did you have ambitions at that stage did you think you had the potential to play for the England senior team?
Oh, do you remember that season? What was it? Our first year in the Prem. I was, I think, 10 in 10 in the league or in league and cup for Reading at the time. And I've been squad for the 21s and I've done all that. I remember there was a striker crisis at the time. There was loads of players out. Loads of the main ones are all injured, and then they called up David Nugent from the Championship. Made no sense to me, but looking back, I know reasons why and everything like that, which I won't get into, but didn't happen for me at senior level. No problem. Still enjoyed myself and had a good career.
Yeah. And obviously you had a brilliant season for Reading in the Premier League as well, like you say, with the goals, and then you moved on. And most of the ex-Reading players we speak to, Leroy, they've retired long ago, but you're still playing. I mean, you've gone on to play. You moved to Middlesbrough. You had a loan spell at Norwich City. Then you moved to Middlesbrough, Swansea. You played in the Premier League again. Few different clubs. So you moved. I think you played out in Thailand, didn't you? Played in
Greece.
And then you sort of moved into non-league, and you're playing with Ilkeston Town now. And I think I saw a few weeks ago you got a hat trick, didn't you, in one game? I just get a sense from you, Leroy, that you're someone who's always just loved playing football, and that's probably still the case. Is that a good summary?
That's the number one thing for me. Is I've loved it from the first day I went down the park and my mates told me to take it serious. So, I just enjoy it because I look at it now. I'm still fit. I still look after myself. I'm like, why am I not playing? Like, I stopped for about a year and I was like, why am I not playing? And then because I was still getting offers and stuff like that. This was professional at the time, still getting offers and that. Then after I came back from Thailand, I just started playing non-league, and it's been all right. You play once a week and sometimes train once, and that's all it is. So there's no burden on me to be at training or anything like that. Just get out there and play football. But I want to be there. I want to see how my body feels. I feel great, so I'm going to play as long as I can.
And what else are you doing with your life now, Leroy?
I'm coaching as well, so I'm enjoying that. So just waiting for. I want to be a manager one day, so just waiting for the right opportunity, and then that will be my ambition from now.
Maybe Reading one day.
Hey, never say never. Paul Ince is there, so he's a top player. I think he's done a good job. But I'm hearing talks of Graham Murty coming in, right?
Yeah, that's the rumour.
I've heard that. Yeah. Well, I know Murty.
Yeah.
If you need a striker coach or something like that, I can begin like that, mate. Nah. I hope that's what I hope to do one day. I'm going to work for that, and when I get the right opportunities, or I don't mind what route. I'm not going to be picky because some of the top people on this planet in the football world have started from nowhere. So we'll do it.
All right, Leroy. Well, look, I really appreciate your time coming on. You've given up a lot of your time for us, so thanks very much for that.
No problem.
Reading legend, part of that amazing Reading team that we all remember and love. And thanks ever so much for your time, Leroy. So next game for Reading is this afternoon against Hull. So let's hope we can break that losing run. And our next 1871 podcast episode is out on Tuesday, when we'll be focusing on Reading FC's women, and our guest will be Sky Sports WSL presenter Lindsay Hooper. So that's available from 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And I'd just like to finish off by saying thanks ever so much, Leroy. Been an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
No problem, Mark, mate. Take care.